Ladies and gentlemen, the traditional marketing strategy starts with the consumer's insight and ends with the consumer behavior changes. While the fundamental idea remains unwaveringly true, the road to consumers' mind and heart has never gotten more diversified and sophisticated. In this unprecedented time, let's dive into the new modern marketing approach. And please join me in welcoming Mrs. Nguyễn Thị Bích Vân, Chairwoman Unilever Vietnam, presenting on the topic, the new scene for modern marketing, step up to level up.
Hello. It's a pleasure for me to be here today to kickstart a very special MMA 2021 virtual event. We have a very rich and exciting agenda to cover, so I'm very sure you all are very eager and so ready for it to get started. What I'm trying to do in my 20 minutes is to bring you together to warm it up a bit. First, I talk about the context, and then what modern marketing is about very briefly, and what should we focus on for brands and marketing in this era. Next slide, please. Let me first try to set the context and share my perspective on this area. Where are we? The world around us is moving into all different dimensions, some of which we can make sense of, and some we can never thought of, and some we are trying to make sense why it is happening, but it is already here. But we are holding a power to make the difference to the world. It is our brands, our possibility to shake and move things around us, to set trends, directions, to grow our business, to grow our economy, and to bring prosperity and happiness to people. Here is the questions. What are we doing with our brands to play a role to help steering our own world, moving towards a better place? Maybe these questions is too ambitious to answer. And how about to be survival through the challenges, or a better one which I like, is to enjoy thriving in this challenging landscape. Next one, please. Talking about consumers' mindset and behavior shift, we have never experienced the shift with this fast-paced changing as much as we've observed in the last few months. From an active lifestyle, outdoor, food service, convenience, traveling experiential enjoyment, to in-home entertainment, what meals for the day, how to shop, how to cook, how to everything around in-home living survival. From premiumization and growing sophistication on beauty regime, for instance, a shift to values and best price. More than ever, health, well-being, shopping assistance, virtual learning supports are in top searches. The pandemic has created a fundamental shift in consumer behavior. The stay-at-home restriction was taking so long that economically it hurts. Accurately observe a sense of insecurity and uncertainties about the future. Consumer has hunkered out, cut back spending, and increased saving quite considerably. That's also partly because there are fewer opportunities to spend. But fact of the matter is the financial difficulties that could potentially a challenge to last for quite a while. Next slide, please. About media and commerce platforms are converging. The digital world is evolving at a much faster pace, that the line around them becomes more and more blurry. So therefore, an explosion of social commerce is such another big thing which is happening. Just a second for O2O and omni-dynamic that we talked about this in the past. Many of us thought it was something happened somewhere else, and it would take years to see those trends to come and take place in Vietnam. And it is already well triggered by stay-at-home restriction. I bet most of us are still grappling on how to shape the business models to serve it. I could not remember how many times I've had to encounter the debates. Why we waste time to discuss about this 1% or 2% of the business? And you know what? Those business model now turns out strong double-digit sales contribution during crisis and saved many businesses in the last few months. Would that go away afterwards? Which I doubt. Let's get back to the main point. I would like to address here is about the convergence of these platforms, social media to commerce and vice versa. This has already happened in China big time and continue to evolve. For each of the platforms, they're expanding their core business for new revenue streams. We should not and could not be surprised to know some leading commerce platforms are disproportionately earning revenues growth from marketing service and media, while the social media is introducing or developing a commerce solution at scale at any time now and then, or already underway and its expansion ambition. To many of us, including myself, got saved my own grocery shopping thanks to the coming of this social commerce. These social commerce platforms will be the backbone of consumer engagement in the years to come. To be structurally ready for this, it requires lots of work with our digital technology, expertise, and capabilities to build and acquire. Next one, please. Another thought to share is about the increasing higher performance cultures. No doubt, to search for growth in the fast changing and fragmenting landscapes, it becomes much harder than ever, especially we all face multiple priorities at the same time, i.e. serving the own or current business model, you name it, while we must explore the new models at the same time, let alone the investor are asking for harder returns on their investment. I came across a good statistic from a study from McKinsey. They said 83% of global CEOs consider marketing a potential major growth drivers for the business. Yet, sadly, almost a quarter of them think their marketing teams are not delivering on their growth agendas. I found this quite intriguing, and I thought I want to borrow the statistic and to convey it to you in the forum today. The question here is, which bucket you think the box would place it in? Just a point of reflections as we are speaking about role of brands and marketing in this pressing moment of the world. Next slide, please. So let me come to the last point to address here. Our people and planet are under increasing stress. The problems of this scale can be very overwhelming. The climate crisis, the point is the business community is yet paying much attention to climate crisis challenge. It has for too long been misunderstood as a future environmental issue. However, the fact is that this is a today social economic crisis. It's impacting the lives and livelihood of millions of people around the world. In Vietnam here specifically, you see poor harvests, lack of clean waters, or even life-threatening extreme weather events like floods, drought, landslides, and invisible impacts caused by the climate change. About gender and economic inequality, Economically, this pandemic is leaving significant impacts to everyone. However, it is much deeper to some particular vulnerable groups than the others. From a gender perspective, the most notable gender differentiated impacts of this pandemic is recorded in a study by UN Women is the emphasis of gender roles and gender stereotypes that manifested in the increased burden for women on care responsibility and domestic work, with higher risk of infection from purchasing daily necessity, higher risk of gender-based violence, higher tension and stress at home. So this inequality challenge existed before the pandemic. It is not new, but it is becoming even larger in time like this. So I hope I have been able to share my perspectives, what context we're in today. Those challenges could be seen equally as opportunities that our generation has. For the forum today, I truly want to address these very specific headlines to this audience because you are awesome. You have with you your brand powers, the creativity power set to find the sustainable growth solution for the economy. And more than ever, this is an essential engine that the country needs. So what all this means to brand and marketing? Next one, please. Brand must have role to respond to all this and to thrive under this circumstance. I find this extremely exciting and challenging, and it is large enough to get the best out of us. You know, the role of marketing is evolving at pace. No more just one-way communication to place an ad somewhere at prime time, prime spot, and hope to get some view. You know, no more waiting for another month or two to know the impacts of what we did. Time is precious, and no more ignorance to the challenges that the community, the society, and planet face. As consumers, customers, your team, people around you, basically, all stakeholders are to be more demanding from brands to be part of the solution. Next one, please. I came across a nice article from McKinsey talking about the growth triple play. The research basically said the companies, those use the three elements of a growth triple play together, and you see on the screen, creativities, analytics, and purpose, achieve dramatically higher average growth rates. The full growth triple play can boost average growth rates by 2.3 times compared to companies that do not use neither of them. The results were even more dramatic during the pandemic, when the impacts of using the full triple play boosted growth rates up by 2.7 times. So the power of creativity in marketing is a no debate how fundamentally important it is. However, when it is empowered with granular data and analytics, that creativity becomes more unleashing to the levels of effectiveness, deep personalization, more interactivities, and connection with consumers, so we could make sharp marketing decisions. And that to become even more powerfully when your marketing work is linking to purpose. It helps your brands, your campaign, to be able to resonate deeply with consumers and customers. Why I'm spending some time here, since this is the hardcore of marketing practicing as all way through. Have a minute here to remind ourselves before we are getting into something very overwhelming of the agenda of Martech during the events. So the excitement of tech is cool, but it is basically there are tools to support you to do the hardcore marketing job better and to be more future fit. Next slide, please. So talking about the future digital marketing, it requires us to look at these wheels: content, media, commerce. This is the new media commerce value chain for us to realize. The modern marketing approach remains the same with outstanding content, effective media, and effortless commerce that interlink strongly with each other. We need an outstanding content that speaks to the heart of consumers, and that piece of content needs to be amplified effectively and efficiently on appropriate media channels and platforms, which in return offers the smoothness of a shopping journey. So consistently, technology development has been so robust that brings this value chain so much connected, willing faster in all aspects from time to space. These three components that once are independent working pillars, reflecting in the way that we organize our workflows, ways that metrics and objectives are set independently. But now it is time for us to rethink. The main themes that MMA this year is very exciting. It wants to address this challenge, I hope. So organizers want to bring you to the work of MarTech in the agenda. It is to address and offers innovation of techs and tools to introduce you in order to support how today and the future digital marketing framework will work. So hopefully the magic bullseyes in the middle of the diagrams you see on the screen will be enlightened that how data and tech will come together to bring services and solutions excellence for your marketing premium journey of next to come true. Now I come to the end of the opening remark. I wish you and your family safe and good health. And I wish you all to come across the current challenge of pandemic successfully. And now finally is to wish you all an excellent MMA events of this year. And thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you, Ms. Fan, for your wonderful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, and now we move to Smarties Vietnam Shortlist Winner 2021.